Welcome to the Pastor Chira Show. I'm Pastor Chira, and today we launch. We launch into new territory. We launch into new mindset. We launch into new relationships. You ready to launch out with me? Come on and launch out as we go into this conversation on today. Today, though, it's not new relationship. It may be new territory, but it's definitely not new relationship. Today, we are back into our conversations that we had during our Pastors and Leaders Summit that Overseer Brian K. Knight had in April. And we had the opportunity to sit down with family. And one of those family members was actually my mentor as a pastor, as a woman pastor. And she got the opportunity to come in, I snagged her, y'all, to come in and sit with me and just have a candid conversation really quick. So I want you to sit back and I want you to hear none other than Bishop Hazel Marie Mack as we sit in a candid conversation. Take a listen. We are here at the Pastors and Leaders Summit, and it has been an amazing time. And I'm here with somebody. We done pulled somebody in that's here at the summit. This one right here. We done pulled her in because this lady is not only the bishop, she's not only the pastor, but she also sits on the board of the Pastors and Leaders Summit. And guess what? She's also something that was talked about earlier today, Bishop Coleman. She's my mentor. And this is Bishop Hazel Mack. I'm so excited. I'm so excited because you decided, you said, all right, child, I'm doing it today.
Yeah.
I'm doing it today. Yes. So you've been here all morning.
Yes.
You've been experiencing this all day, but you were a part of this whole process.
I was.
You was a part of the, what was the process like to get into today?
Many meetings we had, and greetings everyone. Many meetings we've had where the board that I sit on, such phenomenal pastors, and certainly the energy, the strategies and things that God has placed in all of our hearts, and the headship of Overseer Knight has been phenomenal. I want to say just about every meeting we had, it ended up in a worship or something like that because somebody just said something and it just led, so we kind of deviated for what we was really there for, but at the end, God just got the glory. So I'm so excited to and honored to have been a part and is a part of this.
So is that maybe why we can do nothing but praise and worship God on today, because the leaders of the board of the Pastors and Leaders Summit of the E-Experience are leaders,
yes,
and worshipers.
yes.
Each and every one of you is a worshiper in itself. But you, ma'am, besides your worship, there's something that you do that, listen, if you haven't been online with Bishop Mack on a Wednesday night for prayer, if you haven't been, Bishop, this prayer mantle,
Yes, Lord,
that you have, that you are, thank you, Lord Jesus. But this prayer mantle, I appreciate it so much.
thank you.
Where did this prayer mantle come from, and how has it changed your life and your ministry?
Well, from the onset, it started when I was a young girl and my grandmother called me in from playing outside in middle school and said that I could no longer play along with one of my other cousins, that God had a call on my life. At that particular point, I didn't even know what that meant. But she said, I needed y'all to get in your word and start a prayer life. And that was the beginning of my prayer. And so those that were around me, my family, was cultivating that area. And as I got older and as I married and things of that nature, I can say my first marriage really shifted my prayer life, because a lot of things happened in that it was only me and God that got me through. And so when we were told that whatever happens in your house, you don't talk about. So I never told people what really was going on in my life. but all he had was God. And so that caused me to get on my knees without a doubt to get me through and to help me raise my daughter to marry. And then as I got older and growner and fellowshipping and stuff, the late Apostle Joan Sanders sent for me to come to her church, which I didn't go at first. I was nervous, I was scared.
Wait, you didn't go?
No, I was nervous and scared. I didn't know why she wanted me to come,
Right.
So I repented a lot before I went, and I fasted, and I just kept asking God if it was something that I needed to see, show me before I got there, because she was such a woman of God, of prayer and integrity, that I didn't understand why she wanted me to come. But I did go, and that Sunday after their morning glory, I instituted morning glory in my church after that service, and it's there as of today. But she called me out in church, and she told me what the Lord said in my bedroom that nobody knew but her. God had to reveal that because I shared it with nobody, and she revealed it, and she told me that day that God wanted her to give me her prayer mantle, and she laid hands on me. Needless to say, I was out for a good minute, and that has shifted my prayer life even to the extent where it is now, and even getting the opportunity to be on Facebook on every Wednesday night at 7. It was those that were around me, and even some of my members, leaders of my church, that said, Pastor, everybody knows how you can preach and that, but they don't know this part of you, and you need to show it. And I'm like, ooh, I don't know if I want to do that or not, because I'm just me, you know what I mean? So social media sometimes could be critical and all of that. So I wasn't sure if that I wanted to do it. But might I say that pushing me there has really shifted my life, my ministry. I have garnered online members because of that prayer. People that are sowing in my ministry, people that want to join my ministry by just being on prayer, you know, and I'm so humbled and I'm so grateful. I had people even here today that said to me, you don't know it, but I'm watching your prayer is strengthening me. And I mean, it just makes me want to, you know, shed tears because I'm humbled that God would use me in that vessel.
But you just said something that struck me. You said the people pushed you.
Yeah.
The people pushed you.
Yeah.
And I don't know you to be someone that allows people to push them. But you listen to the people this time. What did that for you? What allowed you to listen to the people, to take your ministry, take you and your ministry to another place that God had for you to go?
Well, I realized with what we experienced with the pre-pandemic, the pandemic and all, that social media and those types of settings, Zoom and Teams and all of the stuff, they got StreamYard, all the stuff we're using now, that I had no concept of. But I think for me, I think the pushing was, I know God was saying it, but I was just like fearful, if that means anything, of saying, I'm not hardly trying to do that. You know, everybody knows that I'm so serious about what I do, and I never wanted to offend or, you know, use my prayer. But I noticed how God has orchestrated it, that I'm able to appeal to everybody, and that I know that my leaders, so it wasn't just anybody, leaders and those that mentor me was saying, like, it's time for you to shift. And that's what gave me the shift and the push. And so now I'm not nervous as I was. I'm still a little, you know, but I'm not as nervous as I was. And when I get on, God always has given me a nugget or a word to just minister to somebody. And for that, when you ask God to use you, you know what I mean? Okay, then you can't just stay in your shell. And so I've been able to.
I can't just stay like I'm comfortable. I can't stay in my comfortable place and still do what God calls me to do. And ministry is comfortable.
But it's not.
Oh.
Ministry is not comfortable. Ministry is an assignment. Ministry is the more of you. Ministry is God pushing you into a place that you don't even know how far you're going to go in it. So it is the aura of God that we, number one, hear Him, Number two, move in that direction, and then he'll get the glory, because it's all about him getting the glory. So those that are assigned to you, those that God wants to hear what you say, he's going to cause them to find you, even on social media.
Because they'll hear.
Yes.
Like they said earlier, that you'll hear it.
You'll hear it.
You'll hear it.
Yep.
And you'll be drawn to that sound.
Yep.
And nothing can take you away from the drawing of the sound.
Nope.
And we have to go towards that sound, because that sound is going to take us to where we're supposed to be.
Yes.
And get us to where we're supposed to be.
Yes.
And nurture us how it's supposed to, like the sound does it.
Yes.
It's the sound that does it. So I'm so glad that you heard the sound, and we've been receiving so much today.
Yes.
Even in the sounds of the voices that have come forth.
Absolutely.
On today, and all that has been imparted. What sound are you hearing from the summit?
I am hearing the more of God. I am hearing the shifting, the next level of where we're going. I'm hearing that we're shifting to the next place of, even in our word, even how we're going to make a difference, and even how we're going to garner the less, those that are still waiting for us.
Impactful, right? Told you, she is a mentor, and she is a mentor of me. But we need to go to a commercial, and on the other side, we'll hear a little bit more from Bishop Hazel Mack. We'll be right back. Hi everyone, this is Pastor Chira, and I want to invite you to subscribe to the Pastor Chira Show YouTube channel, because we are about to bring you exclusive footage from the 2022 Pastors and Leaders Summit. I want you to go to our YouTube channel. I want you to go to our Facebook page. I want you to go to our Instagram page. And I want you to subscribe. I want you to follow us. I want you to be with us, because you don't want to miss this footage that's about to come from the Pastors and Leaders Summit 2022. I need you to do it. Go now, go now, go now. Subscribe, follow us, because you're about to get vaccine footage from the Pastors and Leaders Summit. The Pastor Chira Show. Find it, like it, follow it, subscribe. I'll see you soon. We're back, and we're going back into the conversation with Bishop Mack as she tells us a little bit more about mentorship, what it means, and how you do it, especially with somebody like me. So come on, let's get back into the conversation with Bishop Mack. Let's go.
And, Pastor Lonnie Hernan, he was ridiculous with what he said. Bishop Coleman, everybody, Bishop Alexander, everybody that spoke. Like you could see yourself where you are, where you need to go, and the ultimate of where you're trying to. Yeah. And so the fact of the matter is, I just loved everything. Like I had more notes, you know what I mean? Because might I say this, even though I've been on the board, I'm here for me this week. I'm here to glean for me.
You're not here for the other people?
No, I'm here for me. I'm here to take back to my church and to my personal self. What can I do in ministry? How can I grow our church? What is, when he said about the excellent mistakes, I'm so like, wow, I'm going to change my language. That even though I messed up, but again, so I'm here for me. What can I glean as Bishop Hazel Mack to carry back to the New Bethany Church, Holiness Church, and to the community? How can I grow? How can I grow my children? How can I grow the young people? How can I engage the seniors? You know what I mean? Who do I need to take out of place? Because they don't fit the mold. You know what I'm saying? And so I'm going to go back into prayer and consecration for me to God open my eyes for me to see where our church is going.
Because that's what we have to see.
Yes.
Because it's not about just church.
Nope.
It's about kingdom.
Yep.
And this is all about kingdom building. It's about kingdom growth. and what I love about being here with everyone is that there's such a mixture.
Yes.
There's such a wealth of knowledge, but it's not just one denomination.
Nope.
And it's not just one church, or it's a mixture of so much, and everyone has come from so many different places.
Yes.
So we have gotten to the place of where it's not us in our little circles anymore.
Absolutely.
But we're really growing and expanding and allowing God to speak to us,
Yes.
speak through us, and speak for us.
Right.
And I am so honored that you are my mentor, as Bishop Coleman has so profoundly explained this morning.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, it was profound. And helping me through this process, because I wouldn't have been here at all had you not said the first year that when he first did this, you said, "Child, you coming. I don't care what you're doing. You get off the schedule. You coming."
Yep.
And I was like, "Oh, I am? Okay."
She needed a nudge, y'all.
But that's what you do. Chop, no, come on. What you doing this day?
Yep.
And whatever I'm doing that day now became yours.
Yep.
Because if there's something that has to be done and you call, that means God is saying, you gotta go.
Yes.
And I so appreciate who you are, what you do, what you give to all of us. But before I close this out, if you had anything that you wanted to leave and say to the people today, what knowledge, what wisdom, what nugget would you give to them today?
I would say that in the time, in the area that we're living in, that because God is showing his faithfulness and his favor, that no matter where you are, what you're doing, that God still cares. He still loves you. He still has something for you. Even if you don't even think you know God, you are the person that he's looking for. The wounded, he's looking for. Those that are getting hurt in ministry, those that said, never mind, that's enough. God is seeking us back to him in order for us to fulfill what he's calling, so he can get the glory. God's going to get the glory out of all of our lives. And the fact of the matter is that as much as we are doing what we're doing, we don't want to do it by ourselves. We want you to be a part. We want you to come and glean. We want you to submit in order that what God has for you. You have gifts, you have talents, you have things that have not been utilized because you're burnt out, you are tired of church as usual. But I'm telling you, I believe that there's an anointing. I believe there's a power. I believe since God rose, he resurrected something in all of us. Hallelujah. That will cause us to know that we're not done, that God has more for us. And so I believe that this Pastor and Leaders Summit, I believe the pastors are going to walk away energized, because guess what? We found out here, y'all, we're not in it by ourselves. Somebody else feel the same way we feel. And so we're sharpening each other. We're gleaning from each other. We're crying with each other. We're holding each other. And at the end of this, I believe that we're going to make God proud concerning who we are.
And this is why. And this is why. Listen, y'all heard, I just had to speak. And she gave a lot of nuggets, but we had somebody else that came and gave some nuggets too, and that was my father. Yes, he was also at the Pastors and Leaders Summit. So I want you to sit back and hear what he has to say. Pastor Emeritus Bernard C. Smith. Take a listen. You won't be disappointed. Let's go. So we are here at the Pastors and Leaders Summit, and look who showed up. Look who done came to sit in here. Hi, Pastor Smith. How you doing?
How are you?
He to the Pastors and Leaders Summit. So what do you think so far? How are you? What are you getting? What do you think about the Pastors and Leaders Summit, the morning session of the Pastors and Leaders session?
Morning session.
Yes, the morning session.
Morning session.
Yes, the morning session.
Awesome.
It's awesome.
It's awesome. The speakers are fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
They're giving you what many of us need.
Mm-hmm.
It's a Pastors and Leadership Conference.
Mm-hmm.
So therefore, I'm listening and hearing evidence of leadership in not development, but encouragement,
Right.
and strengthening.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just good. It's a good time to be in this place because many leaderships need that kind of encouragement and strengthening.
Right.
Sometimes we speak of encouragement. You don't really need the encouragement. You just need that strengthening.
Yeah.
Because that strengthening is needed because you're always out there doing things, and you're always feeling that you're doing it alone. Most times you are really doing a lot of it alone. So you need somebody to just encourage you and strengthen you, and say you're not by yourself.
You're not by yourself.
I'm here. I may not be in the exact location you're in, but I'm doing the same things that you're doing.
It's because it's just like Bishop Coleman was saying this morning. Like, you know, sometimes you do go right and be in the location, but like he said, his spiritual father was in Trinidad, right? And so, but he, no matter the distance in the space, the distance in relationship was not there. The closeness of the relationship was there. So he could always glean from it. He could always get from it. And so it's important that we're even here to get these kinds of things and to learn and to hear and to see that, like you said, we're not in it by ourselves. We're not in it by ourselves. But a lot of times we as pastors, we come to these things and we don't bring others. So we get it, but those that we are leading and pastoring and mentoring and training, right, they don't get it. What would you say to those pastors that even glean to you about being at and being a part of something like this?
Strengthening and encouraging other pastors is a difficult position. First off, because a lot of times you look at pastors and you say, I don't know where you are. I don't know what you're doing. We have to look at that differently and say, and stop looking at the individual, and start looking at it and saying, well, whatever is going on, God did it this way, and how is God speaking to you, for you to reach out to those individuals in the community that you're striving to reach, so that God is moving in specific ways. But even as he's moving in those specific ways, he's moving in generalistic ways. So that those generalistic ways are moving in the congregations and moving in the community, so that it's drawing people in while you're ministering in the specific ways to individualize ministry. And do the things that they need you to do, so that they can grow and get closer to God. And I don't think I really answered your question. I forgot what your question was.
So it's about bringing in, having other pastors and leaders.
That's a difficult position.
Bringing them in and having them come to things like this in order to learn and to grow. Because a lot of times we don't encourage our pastors and leaders to come to things that are outside of what we're doing. We want to keep them only in the things that we're doing, and we don't want to, I'm going to say, fellowship and network with other things that are going on. What would you say about that?
You're saying the things that we have individually going on.
Right. So having pastors and leaders go to other things like this, right? We don't encourage them to go to, because I'm not doing it. So because you're a part of me and I'm not doing this, you can't go to that.
No.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
I understand what you're saying, and what you're saying is correct. But those outside engagements are engagements that can influence your relationship with the congregations, because your congregations are outside of where you are anyway.
Right.
So that you need to use all of the venues and all of those avenues that you can use to incorporate them,
Right.
to draw them in, and even to entice them.
Right. Right.
Enticement is a very important aspect of this part of ministry.
Right.
So you have to entice them so that you get their attention, and getting their attention will cause them to listen to you closer and more, so that they will begin coming to listen, come to involve themselves in what you're striving to do. So now that you're listening to what I'm saying, you're involving yourself in what I'm saying, and you're beginning to get involved into the Word of God, so that you're not just hearing this person, this individual.
But you're hearing kingdom.
Exactly.
You're hearing kingdom.
Yes,
Right.
instead of just hearing Bernard Smith,
Right.
you're hearing what God is saying.
Right. But we're also hearing kingdom.
Exactly.
So we're outside of just this circle, but we're expounding and expanding to hear what the kingdom is saying. Thank you for coming in and sitting down with us for a couple minutes. See, you never know who's going to show up in the seat at the Pastor Chira show. I'm telling you, this Pastor's Leaders Summit, it is amazing. It is somewhere that if you can, get on down here, come on over, but connect with the E-experience, because it's an experience.
It is an experience.
Like none other.
It is an experience.
An experience. I'm Pastor Chira, and we'll see you in a few. God bless. This was a show with family. This was a show of those that have had impact on not only ministry, but on me. And you always want to have those in your life that have impact on who you are and what you do and how you do it. And I am thankful for these two that are continually sowing into me. Make sure you have someone that sows into you, who you are, and where you're going. I'm Pastor Chira. This is the Pastor Chira Show, and I'll see you next week. God bless. Coming up on the Pastor Chira Show. Honored, I am honored. I did not know, I'm gonna be honest, I didn't know. I was like, so who this is? Who this is? Who this is? Who this is? And then I found out who this is.
I'm just a nobody.